Over the years, aid organizations have released huge amounts of food and funds as humanitarian support for people displaced by insecurity and armed conflicts in northeast Nigeria. Yet, severe hunger remains one of the major problems faced by internally displaced persons in the region. An investigation by Human Angle revealed how corrupt aid workers sustain this hunger by manipulating the food distribution process in a practice so widespread that it has its own name, Kashe raba. A Hausa term directly translated as kill, let's share, but in this context means acquire, let us share. Before IDPs are enlisted as beneficiaries of humanitarian assistance, some are tricked into sharing relief materials equally with the aid workers or local volunteers in charge of enlisting them. This is merely one of the ways humanitarian agencies are undermined in their goal to reduce the sufferings of victims. Efforts are persistently sabotaged by some of the actors who serve as intermediaries between the organizations and the beneficiaries. Last year, Human Angle reported how humanitarian agencies' goal for eradicating hunger among IDPs is becoming a mirage in the face of wanton diversion of food and other relief materials by local camp officials. Other practices that create barriers between food items and targeted beneficiaries include injustice and favoritism in the distribution process. Although the practice of Kashe raba continues to dig holes in the lives of displaced persons, it has been a ghost in the mouths of beneficiaries who are scared to open up. IDPs in Borno told Human Angle that on the average, they receive food items worth 33,600 but lose half of it to this dubious process, making livelihood interventions less effective and denying IDPs the support they deserve. We found this practice to be rampant in camps in Maiduguri and Jere local government areas. After IDPs have taken food items home, the staff or volunteer who registered them follows up and takes half of the food items. Already hunger-stricken, IDPs are compelled to agree with this agreement, thinking the aid workers enlist them out of benevolence. Many of them are unwilling to call out the corrupt aid workers for fear that reporting might raise a problem that will force them to pay back what they were given. Sometimes, these workers threaten to permanently ban them from the list if they dare report. Human Angle has reached out to some of these organizations for comments on our findings, but we have not heard back from them. Kashe raba is a breach of the humanitarian policy that forbids aid workers or volunteers from receiving any form of reward in kind, cash, or sex in exchange for humanitarian services. If corrupt practices like Kashe raba are allowed to continue, more displaced persons are at risk of being pushed into even more severe hunger conditions. The corrupt practices will equally continue to erect barriers between humanitarian needs and the efforts towards addressing them. This script was produced in part by one of the 2022 Human Angle Accountability Fellows. This is part of our video series explaining insecurity drivers in northern Nigeria. We're breaking down major indicators of violent conflict and covering the communities most impacted by it. With support from the MacArthur Foundation, Human Angle is working to strengthen investigative and data-driven journalism in order to reduce corruption.